Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness. And I get a fair amount of folks that have responses to products or programs that we do, even chiropractic. They will have responses to that kind of, like soreness after an adjustment. If you've ever been to a chiropractor the first time and he or she probably told you, hey, you might be a little sore after this. What I find interesting is I tell my clients at about visit 6 or 7 that they will likely feel like they're having a mild cold. And they're like, really? I said, yes, because your body during the first couple of visits is trying to clean up the damage of whatever you waited to come in. Let's say somebody comes with neck pain or low back pain. And within 3 or 4 visits, like, wow, I'm feeling a lot better. Great. And as we keep going, and they realize, wow, my posture's still not great, my muscles are still tight, but I'm not having any pain. I'm not sleeping great yet, but I see that it's getting better. And they stick with the chiropractic care and they want to see their health go to a higher level of function. I usually tell them, like I say, about visit 6 or 7, I said, hey, you're probably going to get a mild cold pretty soon. And sometimes they'll be like, you know what? I had that after last visit for about 20 hours. And I said, that was your body cleansing. So it caught up and healed a lot of other things, but now your brain's starting to say, if this is the way the body is, I can run function much more efficiently. And all the cells start getting wind of things because the body becomes cleaner and the cells start detoxing naturally. And when you have a blood system that's getting cleaner and a liver that's performing better, all of a sudden this blood is saying, hey, I can handle some load here. And all the cells, if there was only like 1 million cells, okay, but it's not. It's 70 trillion cells. When they all decide to clean a little bit, that's a lot. And so now we don't feel so good. And so we'll see that kind of a reaction or response at about visit 6 or 7 or 8. So maybe you've experienced that in your own life with chiropractic, but it is a routine experience when I do things nutritionally with folks. So what they call it is the Jarisch'herzheimer reaction, or Herxheimer reaction is a much more specific way if you look it up online. But anyways, I'm going to spell it for you. Jarisch, Jarisch, and then it's hyphen Herxheimer. It's Herxheimer, Herxheimer. And so if you look it up, you'll kind of get all these things. And I just did a quick browse because I wanted to see if anybody else had kind of posted anything about this. And I read this medical site, and they're like, hey, you got to take some Benadryl or something else. I'm just thinking, are you kidding me? Or Advil or Tylenol or aspirin. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is what you're telling people to do. So here's a toxicity. The body's trying to get rid of it. And what are you going to do? We're going to do a Benadryl. What's Benadryl going to do? What it does, in essence, is kind of open up the cells and tell the cells to take their crap back. Is that helpful at all? Now, it certainly helps the symptoms, but it just makes your body sicker. And now you've got the chemical to deal with too, just like you would aspirin, just like you would Tylenol, a chemical. So let's dissect this reaction so you understand what's happening. And when people have this reaction, and I warn them, I said, look, I'm looking for things like sinus stuff, headache, nausea, not feeling good, even a rash. I mean, I'm looking for things to happen to your body. And there's certain things that are acceptable, and there's certain things that are not acceptable in a Herxheimer reaction. Some people call it herxing or herxed or whatever. You may call it whatever you wish, or just simply a cleanse effect if you just want to be simple. So these cleanse effects can vary from, a little bit of sniffles, maybe a little congestion, a little sinusy, and blowing out some snot a little bit, maybe just a little nausea, just kind of a little bit of unsettling stomach. It's just minor, I can handle it. Lasts for a couple hours, not a big deal. More major responses, hey, I'm getting a pretty good headache. Some major responses would be like a migraine. Throwing up would be a pretty major response. rashes on the body are not acceptable in any way, shape, or form for anybody at any time. And I hope you heard that loud and clear. Rashes are not okay. And so if you ever are doing a nutritional product or program or drug and you get a rash, you should stop. But if it's a drug, you got to tell your doctor because he has to know. Or he or she has to know. But there's nothing okay about a rash on your skin that's now oozing and maybe even bleeding. That is not okay. So there's certain things that you want to totally put a halt on and figure out what just went wrong in your body because something major just happened. Most of the time, when it's a skin response, like, hey, I'm getting itchy skin, or I'm getting like a ringworm type of dry patch on my skin. Okay, that's acceptable. It's still not great. It still means that your liver is not performing. Most of these Herxheimer reactions are just the liver not performing. So we have a filter in our body called our liver. If you all of a sudden do something nutritional that creates a change in the cellular structure and the cells say, wow, this is awesome. I can get rid of the crap out of my cells much easier and use this new fangled instrument in my cell called a real vitamin or mineral and get this crap toxic stuff out of my cells. It'll start dumping it into your bloodstream. And the liver's job is then to pull all of it out, oxidize those chemicals and harsh things, package them, put them in the gut, and then the gut, we poop them out. We get them out of us. If the liver cannot do that, you are going to have a Herxheimer reaction. You're going to try to overburden the kidneys too, because the kidneys will try to help when the liver's overburdened. And if both of them can't perform, then the skin's going to try to push it out. That's where some people will like sweat really bad at night during a cold or flu. They'll just sweat out a bunch of toxins. Sometimes they smell pretty bad too. People that wash or take a bath or take a shower and they still smell like BO after they're done, and they've thoroughly bathed and used soap, and they still smell like BO, that is a skin that's trying to unburden the bowel and the liver as well by putting toxins out the skin. So if that's you, please contact me. We need to have a discussion. But for others that the Herxheimer's reaction is like a migraine headache or nausea or even some vomiting, maybe some diarrhea, they're not happy about what's going on in their body, about what they're doing product-wise, that is an okay response, in meaning that it's okay that your body is indeed cleansing and the product is probably something that you definitely need because it's creating this response, but you're just doing it too fast. So what we do in our office is I tell my clients, look, if the response is too much for you to handle, you stop immediately everything. Let it pass. If it's still not wanting to do that, I expect a phone call so that we can work on some things a little bit differently, and maybe even a couple different products that are going to help the liver open up and process things and get the bowel moving. But most folks, if they have constipation, they've come into my office, I'm going to be real gentle with their product and the program because they can't hardly get rid of anything. I mean, let's just be punny and say they can't get rid of crap. So at this point, we don't want to try to overburden the liver that's going to just shove things into the gut when the gut can't cope because the gut isn't moving. So we've got to get your gut moving. And as we start to get the gut moving, now we can start getting a liver to do some gentle detoxification and clearing the blood and letting the cells begin to catch up and clean up themselves. And then eventually we won't have those Herxheimer reactions, but they can be very important in telling us how sick somebody is. So when I give a product to somebody, especially something that is reparative to a certain tissue, let's say somebody comes in and they've torn a muscle, and I give them muscle protomorphogens, which are specifically from cow muscle, and they collect a certain protein out of the muscle tissue, and then they put it in a pill, and I give that to a client, that protomorphogen is going to tell all those muscles to clean and to repair. And so when that happens, they're all going to clean, and now the liver has to handle that cleanse effect. And if it cannot, they're going to have some congestion. They're going to feel like they have a cold or flu coming on. If they have a little bit of an infection already running in their throat, it's going to magnify it, and they're going to say, hey, I've got a sore throat, I have a cold. No, you just have a more advanced Herxheimer reaction, and we've got to get your immune system working a bit better too. So these are all responses that are important, but it also told us that what we gave them as a product was very much what they needed because it immediately stimulated a response and a change and a healing response. And that's important, even though it didn't feel good. It was just too strong of a response. Now, there's 23 protomorphogens that I use in my office. And those products, if I just cycled through each one of them for about 3 to 5 days at high doses, whichever one made you ill is the one you need. Now, wouldn't that be an interesting way to go through it? Hey, I'm not sure if I need this product. Great, take high doses and let's see if it makes you sick. If it does, you need it. And people be like, hey, your product made me sick. I'm suing. No, you made you sick. The product just showed you that you were sick. And so that's kind of how I want to look at things. And so as we stop trying to play the blame game, we simply have to really take responsibility that my body may not be as clean and as good as I thought it was. And that's a real great thing to learn, and then say, okay, I get it. I'm not well. How do I then go about getting well? And so we always want to start slow on products. If you're out there thinking, I don't want to start fast on any product. I don't want that stuff. You're right. So start slow always and build up over time. Sometimes increasing the product every week, just going a little bit higher, can be very helpful. And you can see if ever you get kind of one of those reactions where you're increasing it slowly, you're not going to get a horrible response. But let's say you get kind of a headache. This headache's not going away. It's a weird headache. I don't ever get a headache like this. Or I'm feeling nauseous. And it's not bad, but I don't normally get nauseous. This is weird. I don't like this. Then whatever dosage you went to was probably just a little much. And you might find that after 2 or 3 days, it's gone. It doesn't happen anymore, even though you're continuing that dose range. After a week, if you try to go up again and you get it again, I'll ask the same question I ask my clients. Is the symptoms acceptable to you? Can you handle them? And if they're like, no, great, go back down for another week or two at that lower dose. And then try to up it again in a couple weeks. Hey, it was just fine after a couple weeks. Great. Continue doing that for a week. Try to go up to the next dose. Hey, that was a little dicey, but I could handle those symptoms. It wasn't a big deal. Great. We're almost at full potency. Go up again to full potency and see if we can maintain there. So those are all responses. Let's say that during the first 4 weeks of up at full dose, you all of a sudden, unbeknownst to you, your body switches and does something and does some cleansing that maybe is really difficult or opens up an infection. And now you're getting a little bit of symptomatology again. Okay, again, can you handle it? Can you let the body at least do what it needs to do? Because it's deciding when it can open up those infection sites and start working and start cleansing your body on a deeper level. So be watchful for those things. So it can take time. So people think, hey, I'm feeling really great. It must be fixed. No. Your body's just enjoying a nice reprieve until the next one. Now, at some point in time, it's not going to have those Herxheimer's reactions because it is going to be mostly clean. But you're going to realize that, wow, I feel like I'm at my fighting weight. I'm sleeping amazing. My energy level's through the roof. My brain is clear. My thoughts are clear. I just feel amazing. I feel like I'm exuding love and joy and peace all the time and patience. I just feel awesome. Can I just stay here? Yeah, you've probably ended up cleansing a vast majority of crap out of your body, and now things are working really, really well, and great, stay there. You don't need really high doses of anything. You just need to have a diet that supports you in what you're needing, as well as detox and living a nice, full, great life. And if that's you already, man, you need to be doing a podcast. But until then, man, let's get some cleanliness going in our bodies, and let's realize that sometimes having a negative response like that, yes, not fun, but sometimes very telling and important. So until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach Dr. Munson at 360-893-8586 or email him at chiroman@dr.com. That's chiroman@dr.com. Check out our current workshop schedule on Facebook at Infinity Whole Health.
The information on Dr. Troy Munson's podcast is meant to educate the listener and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.